Hey everyone, Brandon from Brandon's Baseball Cards here. This weekend, my parents came and my youngest brother came up to help me watch the kids while my wife went out of town for a wedding. We have two young kids and it was just a little bit much for one person to handle. And so my parents came up and they brought with them a few items from my collection that I had at their house. And I looked at some of this stuff and I started to get a little bit sentimental. Because some of this stuff relates to either places in the world that I've been or experiences with my grandfather. And so I thought it would be nice to share some of these, just a couple of stories about how I acquired a few items that were brought today or brought this weekend by my parents. So the first item, this is pretty cool. I used to be a really big, I'll start with a little backstory. I used to be a really big Nolan Ryan collector when I was younger. Nolan Ryan cards, nothing vintage necessarily, just a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s, but anything Nolan Ryan. I was a big Nolan Ryan fan. And then my grandfather's house, I had a drawer, and it was my drawer, my card drawer, right, where I could put my stuff. We'd open boxes, and anytime there was a Nolan Ryan card, I would either find it and put it in the drawer. He would say, "Hey, I found Nolan Ryan," and he would give it to me. But I had a Nolan Ryan drawer. So Nolan Ryan was my guy when I was younger. Wasn't really a Texas Rangers fan. I was a Nolan Ryan fan. My first baseball game was a spring training game. I live originally from Fort Myers, Florida, where the Red Sox train, and the Red Sox were playing the Texas Rangers. And so my grandfather and my grandmother, who I call Mima and Papa, they took me to this game in the hopes of seeing Nolan Ryan. Well, it turns out, I'll never forget this, it was a split squad game, and Nolan Ryan wasn't there that night. So I actually never got to see Nolan Ryan in person, even though he was my favorite player growing up. But Nolan Ryan was my guy, and anything Nolan Ryan that my grandfather found, he would give to me to collect. And so one night, we used to scour Walmarts looking for starting lineups, if you can remember the starting lineup days. And we were looking for what are the starting lineup headliner collections, which is a starting lineup figure with a newspaper clipping that is part of the display for the figure. And we were digging through this bottom shelf at some random Walmart in Fort Myers, Florida, and I found a Nolan Ryan, the only Nolan Ryan we found in our hunt for this particular product. I found this Nolan Ryan starting lineup headline collection, and this is really cool. This is commemorating the Nolan Ryan's number 30 being retired by the California Angels. And if you see on the newspaper heading, there is the hitting coach at the time, who was a guy named Rod Carew. You've probably heard of him. One of the greatest contact hitters of all time, who was, I guess, broadcasting the ceremony, or being the announcer for the ceremony where they were retiring Nolan Ryan's number. So I found this. I was ecstatic, on top of the world. And of course, my grandfather said, "Well, that's yours." I didn't have any money. He bought it for me, and this was part of my Nolan Ryan collection for the past, I don't know how many years it's been now, 27 years, 28 years. It just has a lot of sentimental value. This is not very valuable. It's not a big deal. Most starting lineups aren't worth very much, but this is has a lot of sentimental value to me. And so I got this, and it's going to go in my card closet. So that's the first item that kind of brought back a lot of memories. The second item is it's a little different story. It doesn't relate to baseball, but it does relate to sports. So I did a study abroad when I was in graduate school at Florida State. I did a study abroad in the Balkans. And we spent time in Croatia. We spent time in Montenegro. We also spent several days in Bosnia. And Bosnia, we were studying. There was an ethnic conflict in the Balkans that occurred, several ethnic conflicts that occurred in the Balkans in the 1990s. And that's why we were there. And that's actually what I study now. I study European politics. That's really my area of expertise. But it relates to the experiences I had during the study abroad, where I saw the people. I grew immersed in this region of the world that a lot of people don't know much about. But while I was there, we were looking around at antique shops. I think it was actually in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, when I made this purchase. I was in this random antique store just looking around, and I found these really, really cool. These are Christmas ornaments. I think they're like Christmas tree ornaments is what they look like. They're commemorating the 1984 Olympics that were held in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. I don't know if you can see it says Sarajevo 84 there. But they hosted the Winter Olympics in 1984. They were still part of Sarajevo was part of Yugoslavia, right? This country that fell apart in the early 90s. But they were the first communist country to host the Winter Olympics. Yugoslavia was, and Sarajevo was where they were held. And then I had this other one. This one, it's coming off. The sticker's coming off, but they're a pair of skis. They're two different ornaments, and they're a set of skis. And one has both stickers. It has this wolf skiing, and then the Olympic logo. And then this one is missing the wolf logo, and it just has this, and this one's coming off. So this one has seen better days. But I bought these in Bosnia, and I saw those today, and it just brought back a lot of memories. And I haven't been to the Balkans now. It's been I did field work in Macedonia as part of my doctoral research. I did field work which is a country in a country in the former Yugoslavia. I did field work in 2016, so it's been 4 years now, over 4 years since I've been to the Balkans, and it's a region that's very, very dear to my heart. But you never know where you're going to find memorabilia. You know, you're never going to know when you're going to find something neat that you'll keep with you forever. And neither one of these items that I showed you are particularly valuable, but that doesn't matter to me. These are neat. And the fact that I was with my grandfather when I got this, I was with my grandfather, and he, said, this is yours. You found it. You're the Nolan Ryan guy. That means a lot to me. Not to get too sappy, but the memories like that are very, very special, and that's why it's fun to collect. And so that's what I have for you guys tonight. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've had a nice weekend. Hopefully this has been at least remotely interesting, but I just wanted to commemorate a little bit of this stuff, because if you don't collect for the memories, then what's the point? What's the point, to doing this? So hope you all have a great start to your week, and I'm sure I'll be back with another video soon. Keep collecting vintage baseball.